How many times must I tell you? You must never put your life on the line for me.
Mother has always had a fascination for Lord Mortimer, but has never wanted to tell me why.
We are doing our utmost to find your mother as quickly as possible.
Without your mother, hundreds of men of the cloth would have gone to the guillotine.
All I can tell you is I'm looking for my sister.
Do you believe your mother capable of torturing a child?
An agreement for cannons. Lord Mortimer assured me that you are to take over the project on behalf of your mother.
Johann Christoph von Wollner, Minister of Religious Affairs, and Jacques Peroux, French Revolutionary Tribunal Judge. You will find that Lord Mortimer is not what one would call conventional, Monsieur de Richet.
I do apologize for being late. I was obliged to clear up some urgent business.
At last we meet, Monsieur de Richet. Do you mind if I call you Louis?
Please do.
Thank you. I wish to apologize wholeheartedly, Louis. I made you cross the seas, and I wasn't even here to welcome you. When I asked you to join us here, it was, of course, in the hope that you would help us find your mother. However, there may be some new developments, but I don't know if they are linked to your mother. We have found Elizabeth Adams' body in her room. I'm afraid she was brutally murdered, stabbed several times.
I can't believe it. We bumped into each other last night on our way to bed.
Yes, I know. Duchess Hillsborough informed us that she accompanied you at the beginning of the evening. You apparently bumped into Miss Adams, who wanted to speak to you. We are told you turned her away, and she went away on her own.
That's correct.
Do you know what she wanted to see you about, by any chance?
Not in the least.
Pity. The poor child was probably trying to find help.
I thought it could wait until tomorrow.
Apparently not.
Louis, I shan't hide the fact that this tragedy puts me in a very delicate situation. I cannot risk upsetting the smooth operation of our next conference. But the case cannot remain unaddressed. I must reassure my guests, and justice will be done. And for that to happen, I must ask for your help.
Why is that?
You met Elizabeth. You spoke together, I believe. She trusted you. Listen, Louis. Find out who could have committed this murder. I refuse to believe that one of my guests is the murderer. I want to know who is responsible for this. And I trust you. You have my backing. You must stop at nothing. Can I count on you?
Of course. How would you like me to proceed?
Maybe you could start by going to the scene of the crime. Elizabeth was attacked in her room.
Do you have any suspects in mind, my lord?
I spent most of the night talking with Sir Gregory and His Eminence Piaggi. So I think you can remove them from the list of suspects. Monsieur Bonaparte and President Washington left the party after midnight, I believe. They were tired and went up to bed.
Can you tell me anything else about what happened?
Now, Louis, I wouldn't want to influence you. Get over there and form your own opinion.
Right. I'll get over there immediately.
Thank you, Louis. Now, once you've finished, come back and let me know your findings. I'll be waiting. And Louis, you've got permission to search through the guests' rooms. They've all been notified and they agree.
Which four-letter word could open this chest? Golden elixir. I'll keep it for later. A Bazant. Dante's Purgatory. Why does your mind presume to flight when you're still like the imperfect grub, the worm before it's attained its final form? Charming. Your Eminence, I imagine that you've heard the news about Miss Adams.
What a tragedy, my son. How could such a thing have happened?
That's exactly what I'm trying to find out. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary last night?
I saw the young French soldier, Bonaparte, I believe, hanging around near Miss Adams' room. But I would not want to get an innocent man into trouble, Louis. He's probably nothing.
Not to worry, Your Eminence. If he is innocent, then he has nothing to fear. Do you know why Monsieur Bonaparte was hanging around her room like that?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that the dashing young soldier had become infatuated with a fragile young woman who looked a bit lost. But I don't think he got a very warm welcome.
Bonaparte and Adams? But they didn't even know each other, did they?
I couldn't say, Louis. One last thing. You must know that Peru hit young Adams on the evening of our arrival. He apparently violently attacked her in the small salon.
Do you know anything else about the attack?
Oh, unfortunately not. I arrived too late to intervene. Young Miss Adams had already been submitted to the foul lout's rat. Otherwise, you can believe me, it would not have happened.
Honey, the remedy of the gods. I've come to speak about the findings of the investigation, my lord.
I'm listening, Louis.
I believe I've identified the murderer.
Really, Louis? All right then. Please think carefully before you give me your answer. This is a very, very serious accusation.
I'm going to need a bit more time to review my findings about the crime.
I do understand. All the more so as it's crucial not to make any mistakes when it comes to naming the culprit.
I've come to speak about the findings of the investigation, my lord.
I'm listening, Louis.
Will you remind me of the facts we already know about?
Elizabeth Adams was killed last night, but Piaggi was with Holm and I until late at night. As for Bonaparte and Washington, they left us after midnight, both tired.
I'll be in touch as soon as I have any more information.
The nightmare painted by Fuseli in 1781.
Good day, Monsieur de Richet.
Mr. Volner, are you looking for anything in particular? Next to Elizabeth's room?
No, nothing special.
I'd have thought this is not really the shortest way to get to your suite.
Yes, I wasn't really looking where I was going. I shall leave you now, sir. I will return to my room.
Has Sir finished with this room?
Do you know who could have made such a mess of this room?
Miss Adams, sir. We were given orders to leave the room as it was, so as not to rush her.
Did she have a fight with someone to get the room into this state?
Not that I know of, sir. Miss Adams would sometimes throw a tantrum, during which she would destroy anything that came to hand. Lord Mortimer told us not to enter the room.
Thanks for that information.
You are welcome, sir. Has Sir finished with this room?
No, I haven't gone over everything yet.
Sir may take his time. When Sir would like to leave, Sir has only to tell me.
My dear Elizabeth, I'm writing to inform you of some... The clock stopped at 3:54. If it was smashed during the murder, then I've just established the time of the crime. That would clear Emily de facto because she was still with me at the time. The blade is short and thin, well sharpened, apparently. It's covered in blood. Still fresh. The lower part of the handle is unsullied by blood. The murderer gripped the weapon so tight that there's no blood where he held it. The handprint indicates a small and slender hand. There are numerous marks on the body. She must have fought like a lion. It couldn't have happened without a lot of noise. There are also a number of old scars. Scarring, ugh. Scarring isn't very regular, but they're mostly from old cuts. People who scar themselves in this way generally do so to relieve some kind of psychological suffering. By trying to master the pain, they establish their self-control. Scars are superficial and were made several years ago. She wasn't trying to take her own life. She had the Sigillum de Ameth tattooed on her, the symbol of the living God, written in the language of angels, according to believers. It is rare for someone to know about symbols like this at her age, unless her mother was a tutor. Symbol of the Masons? What's that doing here? I count no fewer than 9 wounds on the thorax, with a lot of blood. On first sight, I'd say that's what caused her death. Some of these tattoos are veritable works of... What's that? The skin between her breasts is different. Bloody hell! This tattoo was drawn on a page of leather and stitched onto her skin. Probably during childhood. If the scars are anything to go by. It's the same kind of tattoo as on the rest of her body. I see no sign of bruising on the skull. The only clue is a scar from a previous craniectomy. Poor Elizabeth, she must have been very young when she went through all that. That's torture.
She also has old scars around the neck, maybe mutilations. She bled from the nose. There's signs of bleeding, but I don't see any traces of bruising. What a strange smell. Her breath smells of alcohol and of laudanum. People use it to relieve pain. No wounds, but blood on the right hand. Nothing on the left except that tattooed symbol. This pinnacle's a trap. The wearers of the pinnacle thought that they were protected from evil by surrounding it inside the different circles of the pinnacle. No marks or bruising around the wrists. It doesn't look like she was tied up or held by force. Blood, but no trace of blows on the legs. More tattoos, similar to those on the rest of her body. Let's see. No trace of sexual assault or rape. There are numerous marks on the body. She must have fought like a lion. It couldn't have happened without a lot of noise. There are also a number of old scars. I count no fewer than 9 wounds on the thorax with a lot of blood. On first sight, I'd say that's what caused her death. It looks as though the wounds were inflicted from a precise angle, as if the murderer was standing behind Elizabeth. The wounds are clean and look like they've been inflicted by a sharp object. Some of the lacerations have damaged vital organs, the heart, the right lung, which is perforated. Most of them weren't given with much force. She might even have survived. But the stab in the heart, though not all that deep, sealed her fate. I see no sign of bruising on the skull. The only clue is a scar from a previous craniectomy. Poor Elizabeth, she must have been very young when she went through all that. That's torture. She also has old scars around the neck, maybe mutilations. She bled from the nose. What a strange smell. No wounds, but blood on the right hand. Nothing on the left except that tattooed symbol. Blood, but no trace of blows on the legs. The direction of the blood streaks caused by the wounds to the thorax show that she was standing when she lost blood.
This proves that she was standing when she was assassinated. Possibly held by someone or something. Knocked over bottle of wine. What kind of plonk is that? Hey, it's a Bordeaux. That's a Chateau de Briand. It's a great wine. I don't know what's happened to this wine, but it's undrinkable. Poor girl bled to death. Whoever left that footprint has boats for feet. That's at least a size 15. Where's a size like that here? Peru? Washington, maybe. Vials of laudanum. The label shows that this laudanum comes straight from America. I wonder if Washington's involved. A pentagram? What the hell's been going on here? Contrary to what most people believe, a pentagram's not there to conjure up, I don't know what evil or demonic creature. With the point toward the top, the pentagram is an ancient symbol of protection against evil. Many esoteric rituals are based on this shape. Could Elizabeth have been sacrificed during an occult ritual? A notebook, written in Elizabeth's handwriting. It is written in a mix of several languages. Not too easy to work out. A pistol? Fairly new, I'd say. And judging by the weight of it, fairly light. A tribute engraved on the barrel. To the liberators of France. There's a few dried traces of blood on the grip. Difficult to know for sure how they got there. It's extremely well maintained. The barrel is perfectly clean. It isn't loaded and well, there's no traces of gunshot residue. I'd conclude that it hasn't been used recently. Right. I shall have to find its owner. Piece of fabric. High quality at that. I'd say it's silk. Going by the texture and the gray hue, it must come from a dress, that kind that women of quality wear.
The color doesn't correspond to Emily's black outfits, and Elizabeth doesn't have anything quite like this in her wardrobe. Let's take a closer look. It's a little dirty. It must come from the bottom of the dress where it touches the ground. I recognize that moire pattern. It's the same as the travel dress my mother was wearing when she left. But why the hell did she come into this room?
blood spatter indicates that the murderer must have held Elizabeth upright during the attack. Even if Elizabeth wasn't very big, I doubt she wouldn't have put up a struggle. It takes tremendous strength to overpower someone like that.
Has Sir finished with this room?
I know enough now. Thank you.
Very well, sir. Sir may return whenever need be. I shall guard the door.